Welcome to Book Watch, the podcast where pages meet screens. I'm your host, Sarah Day. Each week, I'll be joined by amazing guests to dive deep into the world of adaptations, comparing beloved books with their cinematic counterparts. From faithful retellings to bold reimaginings, we'll break down what worked, what didn't, and what made each adaptation unforgettable. Whether you're a bookworm, a movie buff, or both, you are in the right place. So grab your bookmark, grab your popcorn, and let's watch some books.
Hi,
Alyssa. Welcome back to another episode of Book Watch, where we will be doing part 2 of our page to screen discussion. So in this episode, we'll get into kind of the key plot points and our character arc conversation. We moved from our first episode to this one because I feel like their character arcs in this story are so integral to the key plots.
I agree.
So I guess let's go ahead and dive in with kind of our introduction to Camille. And she goes into work and her boss says, you're going to go to Wind Gap, your hometown, to investigate these murders. How did you think that went from page to screen?
The very concept of her having to return to a place that she lost her sister, having to return to a place where she grew up in a claustrophobic house that honestly looks hella haunted. It's one of those things where I felt incredibly bad from her from the very first chapter. And I do feel like there were so many undiagnosed things that she was experiencing that she just wasn't getting the support she needed. So from the very first chapter, I could really see it mirroring the book perfectly. And I wish I could have grabbed her and as a friend been like, turn around, don't do it.
Yeah.
But she needed to do it for work. And as you previously mentioned in the previous episode, she was already struggling with substance abuse issues with just drinking and alcoholism. I think her boss also, that line between boss and friend, he was like a father figure, but I think he could see she was struggling, as you mentioned. So in a lot of ways, she did not want to go back, but at the same time, just adult things. She has to make some money. So she ends up going back for work. But the murders mirror something that happened in her past, which is interesting. So that's very, very spooky. Also, the murders are quite grisly. It definitely reminds me a lot of another show, the Mindhunter show, based off the FBI and the development of that new fields within them, to kind of analyzing why killers kill, not just out of random acts of rage. This book was also similar to that, where you could see the police trying to track this crime, and then Camille kind of being in the background, slightly inebriated, also continuing to cut herself. It was just too many. It was too many moving parts. My girl was fighting for her life, literally. So it was a lot. It was a lot for her. From literally chapter 1, she was already on the edge. So it wouldn't take much to push her off.
Right. And do you feel that, these actors really conveyed that messaging?
Oh yeah.
I know we talked about Amy Adams a lot in the last episode.
Fangirls. She deserves it. Like,
yeah.
I do think that Amy Adams, I'm a huge film buff and show person, as I'm sure you've heard, but Amy Adams to me, maybe this is another book to adaptation you could definitely talk about, Annihilation, which is like a sci-fi horror. But it's another thing about like womanhood and grief and mental health and the horror of it in some ways. But Natalie Portman also did another role similar to Amy Adams in this show, where she goes into an environment that is not safe for her, knowing it's not safe for her, seeking answers, seeking closure, seeking understanding, and a beast is preying on her. Same thing with Sharp Objects. Amy Adams comes into a situation, Camille comes into a situation knowing it's not safe, knowing there's a killer in her midst, but she is seeking answers, and she is in a lot of ways looking back into her past. And the past rears its ugly head, and the killer is not far away, as we know.
So let's talk about her relationships with her mother and Richard, and her sister.
Oh, yeah.
And how these characters, how these actors portrayed these relationships from the story and how they brought them to the screen.
In a lot of ways, I feel like her mother from the book to the show, in like essence, beautiful transition. The mom from the book to the show, I feel like her acting wasn't the right actor, but I enjoyed her acting on the show. Just her mannerisms and the way she spoke to her in comparison to the way that she spoke to her younger daughter was divine, because the way she
Mhm.
spoke to her younger daughter, there was still this freshness, this love, this active appreciation. Whereas with Camille, I feel like she was a lot more exasperated and a lot more like she only liked her when she was could mess with her or control her.
Right, and there's a scene in the later episode or 2 where actually, it's when Camille has realized that she has Munchausen's by proxy,
Mhm.
and she's protecting Amma because the mom is bringing Amma upstairs, and she's like, "No, no, I want cake. I don't wanna go upstairs because I know you're gonna poison me."
That's right.
So Camille is like, "Oh, my stomach, mama, help me."
Mhm.
And she immediately dismisses Amma and grabs Camille, and starts babying her.
This terrified me so much. That this is also set in the South, so that
Mhm.
concept of like, I have family who are Southern, so this is a concept I do understand, where it's like mother knows best. And also
Mhm.
that concept of like, let me get all the fixins for you, let me run you a bath, like let me all these things. This concept of like, no matter how old you get, your mother can still care for you, and
Yes.
you can only say so much. You have to allow her to some extent.
Uh-huh.
And I see this in a lot of Southern households. I have a lot of friends whose moms to this day are very much like, "Come, don't go on the road. Sleep here. Let me cook for you," and you don't question it because it's a mom. It's a loving, sweet
Right.
mom. But in this situation, what was incredibly spooky was that by her saying, "Mama, like bring that back." Like some people transition to, instead of calling their dads like daddy when you're a child, you call them dad, or
Yep.
you call them a father as a woman. The way she was able to tap into that like youthful young side of herself in the same house she lost her other sister. To me,
Mhm.
that was the spookiest thing, is that like her other sister was I always felt her presence in the book and in the show. She never left my mind that you had
Yeah.
another sister. So if you kind of follow this path with your mom, that's what's gonna end up happening to you. That was like all I can think about was like she'll do the same thing to you, you
Well, in the
know?
show, you said that she never left your mind, the
No.
sister, and the show did a really great job of reminding you of her with all these
Mhm.
little flashbacks, and we mentioned it in the last episode where Camille would remember something, and it like she would feel the word that she had carved into her body heat
Absolutely.
up. And in the show, they did the little flashbacks, and like her sister was in a lot of those flashbacks. So I think they did a really good job of making, exactly what you said you were feeling during the book,
Mm.
um, bringing that to life in the show.
Even I think we also even have to consider for character development's sake, um, her younger sister never met the sister who passed away. She wasn't born yet. So she has no
Right.
concept of like what her mom's actions can do. Like, she doesn't really understand that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
of course, she's the killer, so she understands death, she understands the ending of a life, but I don't think she really understood, like,
Mm-mm.
within your family, your mom has already done this to another daughter. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, she's already like, she gave birth to you to do this all over again. Like, you're not the
Well,
first, you
and
won't be the
she
last.
has this sense of I need to be better than
Mhm.
her. And so even if she realizes that her mom did kill her,
Oh, yeah.
she needs to survive because she
Mhm.
needs to be better.
Right? That competitiveness. Even, like,
Mhm.
there's a shot in the film where when Amy Adams finds her sister's dollhouse, her sister's in the doorway. Like,
Yeah.
that girl had a whole act. Like, she was gonna keep acting like, you know, the sweet, like, Mom was doing this to me and I had to get out, you saved me, now we can have a whole life together." She was gonna keep acting like that.
Right, but
The
the
moment she
moment
oh my
Camille
god.
showed attention to someone else,
Seeing her in the
because you
doorway.
see yeah, well, you see the blanket that the other girl had made was in the
Mhm.
trash, and so she was like, "No, like, I'm not having that in my dollhouse," and then she ended
Girl.
up missing. Yeah.
Even
Oh,
just, like,
Emma.
the teeth in the floor mirroring her mom's white floor,
Yep.
there was something about, like, in a way, I think she was a little bit obsessed with her mom, like,
Oh,
just
yeah,
that sense of, like, "I know
and
you
making
and
her
you're
happy,
mine."
obsessed with making her happy,
I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my god." Like, I yes, like, yes, you know your mother, and, like, some people are very close to their moms, and they're almost like best friends. As we referenced previously, like, a Gilmore Girls, like, that
Yeah.
perfect relationship. But, like, even in Gilmore Girls, like, they had problems, they had conflict, like, there was
Yeah.
definitely a control issue,
Mhm.
for the girlies who know. Stanford. And long story short, Harvard. There was a control issue. But for me, I'm like, I look at the actors and the way they played these characters, and all of them were unlikable. Camille, she had problems, yes, but I still cared about her.
Mhm.
But everyone else, I did not like. Like only Camille and her boss. I did not like anyone else. Oh, and then the detective. But that was
I was
it.
gonna say, did you not like
He was,
Richard?
he was it. He was all
But, okay,
yes.
how do we
All
feel about how Richard in the show, I don't think makes it as evident as the
right.
book did, but once he saw the scars, he was done with her. And
Oh,
again, you saw him react to that in the show, but
yeah.
I think the book really lays it out clearer than the show did, that he like she never heard from him again after that.
I also think that like a lot of people don't know how to respond to individuals when they
Sure.
share super dark stuff or super
Mhm.
personal stuff from their past. A lot of people freeze and think like this is too much and they run away. You know, and people have the right to say, you know what, this is a lot for me. I don't think I have the emotional bandwidth to
Mhm.
navigate this with you. That's mature to communicate. I don't have the emotional bandwidth to navigate this. In the book and in the show, it broke my heart that she already had abandonment issues. I think
Mhm.
losing her sister, I think, feeling lonely, feeling unlovable, thinking her
Yeah.
scars were gonna deter anyone from her,
Mhm.
even wanting to keep her clothes on during intimacy. It was just there were certain things where I was like, I don't think she's been shown, like, unconditional love without pain.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart because the first person who loves you is your parents, you know?
Mhm.
So imagine if you don't get that from your parents, you spend your life seeking it in other places.
Mhm.
So that's the first heartbreak, like the first cut. And oh, symbolism. And it's whoa, 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 hold up. Anyway, so long story short, I felt for Camille because I feel like even though I don't think she was going into the situation with him like, "Oh, we're gonna fall in love." I do think she was hopeful, maybe. A
Yeah.
good-looking guy, you know, attention, maybe this could be fulfilling of a need right now. And
Right.
it broke my heart, even just seeing, like, her sister manipulating her. I don't think that they had, like, a wholesome, beautiful relationship. It felt
Yeah.
even that felt like a game, you know?
Yeah.
So, oh
Well, and going back to Richard and her attraction to him, not only is he a good-looking guy, but he also can see through the bullshit the town is
yeah, he's
presenting,
self-aware.
and, like, so she can see too, and she's escaped that, and so they kind of connect on this town is wild, and, like, they are not living in reality, basically,
Yeah,
and, for her, she has, the Currys, but to
yeah.
lose that only other, like, friend she really formed was like you said, heartbreaking.
I think that this entire story is about pain and how some people face it, how some people bury it.
Mhm.
It's about girlhood, which inherently, like, you can even think about, like periods. The first thing you go into womanhood is with pain. Like, you experience, like,
Ugh,
this is what we all go through. This is what we all go through, right? This is part of it. You lose a sense of, like, what is it? Innocence, you know? Like,
yeah,
now you're aware, like, "Oh, well, we all bleed, and under these pretty dresses, like, we all do this and we all do that." And I think that that's, like, the gnarly part of girlhood that, yes, it's natural. Anger is natural. Rage is
right,
natural. You know what I mean? Like, having resentment is not like a lot of people feel these things. It's how you approach it and how you navigate it that matters. Like,
right.
you can't unalive people because you need attention. Like, but it's one of those things where it's like if you're not told this is wrong, if you never experience like upfront, like this is wrong, this is right, how are you supposed to know? So that's why
Mhm,
for me, I'm like, I look at Camille and I feel like she had so much in guilt and, like, suffering.
mhm.
She took what she felt on the inside and put it on the outside, and she only punished herself. But the
Yeah.
mom, I feel like her mother, like, she just enjoyed control and,
Mhm.
like,
Oh, yeah.
she wanted to keep her daughters, like, sick and, like, weak so she could, like, just get to them like a spider, and I can't help but compare her to, like, the mother from Coraline, like, that
Ugh,
sense of, like, control, you
yeah,
know? And I think that's the scariest thing is Coraline, like, the eyes weren't the scariest thing to me, the scariest thing was that sense of, like, you're trapped in this world your mom built for you, like, you cannot
yeah.
leave. That
Wow.
was the scariest thing, you know? Even the
Yeah.
father in that is complicit. Even the father in that is complicit. Silence is
Yeah.
you're complicit, you know?
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
bystander.
absolutely.
The father in this is a bystander, like, the parallels. Tell me I'm wrong. Like it just yeah,
Um,
it's oops. No, it's technical difficulties. Oh, but yes,
so,
yeah.
when I break down part 2 of our
Mhm.
adaptations, I do, the key plot points, and like I said earlier, we're moving the character arcs to this episode because I feel like most of the book, before we get to kind of like the last third of the
Yeah.
book, is really just learning about these characters and seeing them interact together, and
I agree.
the murder mystery is ongoing. That's in the background, but we're getting to know these characters and seeing these relationships play out and seeing the relationship between Camille and her mother and her sister. But the first real big thing that happens is John Keane kind of becomes a suspect.
Mm.
And then all the gossip and his girlfriend wanting to be in the newspaper and just seeing her name in print.
Red herring.
How did you think about all of that kind of from page to screen, and the actor for John Keane, which I think I wrote that down, is Taylor John Smith.
I think this concept of like the Boo Radley character where like you blame the person who looks the shadiest,
Ooh.
you blame the person on the edge of the town, like you just kind of
Mhm.
find it sounds horrible, but you find someone you can pin it all on who looks bad, like societally, like, oh, he was an older man and there was a younger girl, he was in the area. And like it's this sense of like you have to find someone because you can't blame the person you know it is. Like, how are you gonna explain that
Yeah.
it's this 14-year-old girl? How are you gonna explain, like, you have to have proof versus you already have this preconceived notion of what a predator, of what a killer is. People
Right.
rarely think, and this is sexist, but people rarely think that women are capable.
Well, and they talk
We are
about that in the
capable.
book a lot, that they just don't think that a woman could do this.
I what blows my mind is that's why so many criminals who may be women get away with these crimes because no one
Mm.
considers. And that's what also breaks my heart is that as the mom, no one was gonna look for her. Like no one was gonna look at
No.
her, a pillar of the
No.
community.
Right.
Even we could even put class,
Mm.
race, consideration of, well, she's a mother and she would
Well,
never do
and
that.
bringing up class, that
Mhm.
brings up a really good point that before we even get to John Keane, they're looking at Nash,
Mhm.
who is the first little girl's father.
Yeah.
And then John Keane is the second little girl who disappears, her brother. And they describe the house. Camille describes the house, and like you can just see a clear difference between their houses and Camille's mother's house.
Mhm. Even just this concept of this you know, your house is a reflection of you, your car is a reflection of you, your clothes are a reflection of you. If you see a beautiful house and you see a Tesla and you see a woman and her beautiful daughter and her happy husband, you don't think that there's abuse. You think, oh,
Mm.
well, I would know. You don't know. Like behind closed doors, how
You
would
don't
you
know what
know?
happens behind closed doors. Yeah.
Exactly. Even if you see like a lower income household, or if you see like, well, they have like grass in their front yard that hasn't been mowed in months, and their son is looks dirty. What if he just plays outside? You have these preconceived notions and this discrimination inherently. You pin things, like they were pinning things on people who were already grieving, like the fathers in the story. Like, people may not cry in your face, but they may be grieving in private. And then you see the mother in comparison lost a daughter to her own actions, and you don't really see her grieve at all. You know what I mean? No
Mm.
tears, no pain, no none of that. Like, she didn't learn anything from that experience or try to get help.
No.
It was things like that in the story that was the most monstrous part to me, was this concept of like indifference. The opposite of love is indifference, you know? So I do think that, like, even having an eyewitness say, "I saw a woman," even though he's a child, no one
I
listened to him.
know. I
I was
know.
I was like, "Okay, can we hear the kid? What do you mean you saw a woman? Who? It's a small town. Who did you see?" Like,
Yeah.
show him pictures, show him something, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Also, like, not considering that the way that the girls' bodies were found in the story, um, did no one question where they saw them last? Like,
Right.
I have so many questions. I have so many thoughts. Like, you're missing all these. Like, my textbooks say you're supposed to, do A, B, and C. Obviously, life is not like that. But like in my head, I'm like, there's a chain of a series of events that have to occur, and that's where this small town bullshit police force, you see how bad
Right.
they are. You know,
Mhm.
I'm not saying big city ones are better. I'm just saying that like it was things like that that made me incredibly angry and frustrated. And um I always I kept saying Honora in my mind. It's Adora. When I was reading
Adora.
the book, I'm like, "Honora, no," but it's Adora. But, I did make a note where I was like, the major themes in the book as Amma. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. This contract of like sickness, this concept of teeth. It made me think of like baby teeth. Like
Mhm.
the teeth could even symbolize like going from girlhood to adulthood. In
Right.
that sense of like, I will take away your youth. I will take away your teeth. Like you can't speak anymore. Like that
Yeah.
insane amount of pain. So I don't know.
Ugh.
There was little things where I was like, "Ooh, that's a lot. Ooh, that's a lot." So yes, I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. And also,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
found that quote I referenced before that I was like, that made me want to read the book all that time ago. I actually did end up finding it.
Oh, good. What
So,
was it?
yes. So the quote is, I love images and photos, so I screenshotted it, but it was, "Sometimes I think illness sits inside every woman, waiting for the right moment to bloom. I have known so many sick women all my life, women with chronic pain, with ever gastrating diseases, women with conditions, men, sure, they have bone snaps, they have backaches, they have surgery or two, yank out a tonsil, insert a tiny plastic hip. Women get consumed." There was
Wow.
something about that quote. When I first saw that in high school, I was like, and I was, you're in high school, your body's changing, you get your cycle, things like that. I Hearing my mom say you're in pain and until you hit a certain age, you will continue to be in pain. This is just part of life. Terrified me. Like this concept of like my mom knew the whole time and she's telling me now as it's happening. But isn't that spooky? The concept you have to tell your children you will always be in pain. Like you will take
Mhm.
pills and you will do this and you will do that to manage this pain. But
Ugh.
until you exit this part of your life, you will be in pain. And I cannot help you. This is the first moment you're in pain and mom can't fix it. And this is part of
Yeah.
womanhood. That is terrifying, you know? So it's spooky. You know what I mean? You think your
Yeah, it
parents
is.
can fix all and you have
I
faith,
know.
you know?
Yeah.
It's scary. So imagine your mom saying, like, let me run you a bath, come upstairs with me. How are you supposed to know? Like
Right.
what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, spooky.
Yeah.
Very spooky.
Well, that brings us to the discovery of the Munchausens by Proxy and Camille and Richard talking about like coming together and talking about this, and then she has to go back to her house. So, walk me through your thoughts on how you thought the show brought that to life on the screen.
Oh, um, how can I describe this without being mean? Okay, so okay, so I feel like between seeing the mom, I don't know how to describe this because I don't think we saw her in the past like glimpses. I think we saw a lot of her sister in
Mhm.
flashbacks, if I remember
Right.
correctly. But
Yeah.
in sense of her actions towards making the girls sick, seeing flashbacks of the mom with the girls who died, I think it was in the book where, like, you would see flashbacks of her she was the one hanging out with the girls, and they would come to the house to
Mhm.
see, Amma. Seeing how all these moments connected, where the
Yeah.
mom she had cause, like, she had them there. She had access to the resources to make them sick. And you later see Camille experiencing that as an adult, and her tolerance I didn't consider this. Her physical tolerance that she built up because her mom made her sick for so long. How many drugs, how many things would she have to take to be able to get sick on the level she was when she was a teenager? She would have to take
Right.
quite a bit, including also her alcoholism. So I think for me, like, I couldn't stop getting away from like the themes in that
Mhm.
because Camille has built up such a tolerance versus her sister has also built up a tolerance. It terrified me that the mom knew she would have had to give them quite a bit, you know what I mean,
Right.
to make them
Yeah.
sick, like, to the level I assume she was trying to go for. So
Mhm.
from the book to the film, I or the book to the show, I think it's very important to consider the mom was well aware of what she was doing, both
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
Um, what scares me is, like, that's con what if they get sick and they don't get better? What if they unalive in your house? What are you going to do? Like, there was never a consideration for that in the story, which made it even more dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a small town, they're gonna
Um,
see you
right.
disposing of a body. You're like, "Girl, what are you doing?" I don't know. It scared me.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit, in the last episode, I believe, about, how Camille getting home and eating that dinner and then taking over for her sister, like,
Mm,
pretending that she was sick so she would get the brunt of the medicine. I just thought everybody really acted that scene really, really well, and, like, we're getting to the climax of the
I can't.
story here.
E Even the even the end, seeing Amma, like, pushing the girl like, the what is
Mhm.
it? Like, the chain link fence, like, seeing her, like, the look on that actress's face,
Mhm.
for me, like, the imagery in my mind of the teeth pulling and the dollhouse is the images I think of most when I think about this book. Is the dollhouse, is the
Yeah.
red sweater from the very beginning, is just Camille's, like, the words on her body, all of that, it terrified me. But yes, I think that the moment where she puts herself in front of her sister in order to protect her, metaphorically,
Mhm.
I think that might have been the first time that Alma's ever seen anyone love her, like, sacrifice themselves
Right.
for her.
Yeah. I almost the actress that played Amma is like I almost is like, is she appreciating that she's taking the brunt, or is she jealous that she's getting the
Mhm.
attention now? And you
I'm gonna
kinda
vote
see
jealous. I'm gonna vote jealous.
wishy-washy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote
Um,
jealous, yeah. Seeing her mom,
yeah.
the cops come to get the mom, and I don't I don't think she knows how to live without this cycle of manipulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if her mom can't give her attention now, who will? Will she
Mhm.
have to find new victims? Like, it would change her, like, motive too. Like, it was just one of those things where I'm like, I don't think she really knows who she is without her mom.
No,
Like,
of course not.
that fundamental, like, identity, she doesn't have it. Like, she doesn't have a core self away from approval. That whole of love, "I
Mhm.
need it, I need it, I need it." She'll never have that
Mhm.
fulfillment. It, in a way, is an addiction. She needs it, and without it, who are you? You know, she doesn't know, and that's heartbreaking.
Mhm. Yeah, and we've talked about her being in the doorway, that end twist.
God,
So,
yeah.
Adora has been locked up. We think she's the murderer. She
Mhm,
hasn't said she's not.
mm-mm.
Well, she pled not guilty, but, um, we have talked about that we think that she knew Amma was
I
really
think
doing it,
so.
but she's protecting her. And so the final twist is Camille finds the teeth in the dollhouse, and Amma's in the doorway and says, "Don't tell mama." And cut to black. Credits run.
Oh god. I think that sense of "Don't tell mama, don't tell mom." I think it's one of those things where it's like, that's such a 2 routes. Manipulation in the sense of don't tell her, "Let me explain." Okay? And
Right.
then the second route to me, which I think is more valid, is that sense of you're still a child. Like, you don't
Mhm,
actually understand, like, the repercussions for what you've done. Like, just the accusations that your mom could have done this, which, yes, she made them sick and she fucked them up, but she didn't
mhm.
kill him. She didn't kill him. She did kill another girl.
Well, she
She
did
never killed
kill
her. Yeah, she killed
yeah.
her own daughter, but she didn't kill these girls, you know?
Right.
Her reputation will never recover. You know what I mean? If she went back
Oh,
to that
yeah.
town, she tried to move anywhere, her life is over, in
Mhm,
that sense. She can't rebuild it. And then, at least for me, with her saying, like, don't tell mama, for me, I was like, you really don't understand, like, the level of the depths of what you've taken from these families. And, like, you took these girls' futures away from them because you were jealous. Like, that's such a child, like, you only see so far. Like, the forest from the trees. Like, you only see so much.
mhm.
And that comes with time and maturity. But for me, that's the most scariest thing, is that she had so much power. And she had these girls in an isolated state, in a weakened state. And
Mhm.
even the victims, like, they just wanted a friend. They just wanted approval. And that sense of girlhood, that sense of, like, I just want to be loved, I just want to be seen. Like, if you're not getting that from your home life, you may look for that in your romantic relationships. You may look for that,
Yeah.
your friends. If you have a bad friend, if you have a bad boyfriend or girlfriend or partner, abuse can happen anywhere. That's the most terrifying thing for me. Like, if for anyone who has children or siblings or nieces or nephews, your worst fear is them meeting someone who's
Right.
horrible, you know?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
who takes and doesn't consider what that does to another person. Amma, to me, was the epitome of, like a parent's worst nightmare, in the sense of, like, your kid just wanted a friend. She picked the wrong friend.
No. Yeah. And when she goes, "Don't tell mama,"
Oh.
it's almost like she it's not so much that she got caught by Camille, it's like
Mm,
she doesn't want her mom to know,
mm.
even though I think she knows Adora knows she was killing the girls, like,
She
we keep
knows.
talking about this cycle, but, like, her first thought is, "Don't tell mama," like, "I don't wanna get in trouble
Mhm.
with mama."
Even the quote from the book, "Problems always start long before you really see them."
Mhm.
Just that, like, I kinda kick myself in the butt for not considering that, where I'm like, in The Grown Up, in Gone Girl, in Sharp Objects. Gillian Flynn really does present it from the very beginning.
Mhm.
Something's wrong here. You have to
Yeah.
find out what's wrong. But you know from the
Right.
very beginning, you
Well, and that's the
know
beauty of
something's
her
wrong.
stories.
Yeah,
Right.
you have a feeling in your gut
Yeah.
because you don't listen to it. You don't listen to the warning. Something bad happens. We knew there was a killer in that town. We just didn't know who, you know?
Right.
And Camille does not want to go home. Why doesn't she want to go home? All of these things, I think the only difference between Amma and Camille is time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Camille was there for so long and she lost her sister and she was so isolated. She was able to get out, but we saw without her boss's support, she probably would have been in an even worse state. Her sister, the only difference is time, you know?
Yeah, and I think also though she was able to get out, Camille was, because her little sister was more willing to, or not more willing, but
She
well, yeah,
played
more
into
willing
it
to listen to her mother than Camille
100%.
was. Like Camille was very argumentative, but
Mhm.
she didn't waste time with Camille because she had another child to
Mhm.
manipulate. And
Oh,
Alma
yeah.
didn't have like that, she was alone.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the things that Camille really feels guilty about is that she wasn't there
Yeah.
for Amma in the way that she was for her other sister. And
Yeah. But had
well, I
Camille
guess she
been
wasn't
there,
there for
she
either one of them at the end of the day.
That's true. That's true, but even her other sister, we see that, like, if the mom's focusing all her attention on the other sister, making her sick, eventually leading to her death, and then Amma was there alone as well. I guess I would make Camille the middle sister at that point, but, um Camille not being there was integral to her being able to combat her mom and to be able to argue and say, "You know what? You're upset, you don't like my opinion, but I'm a fucking adult." Like, that sense, she was able to
Mhm.
move away and have a sense of self. Amma didn't have that, and that
Right.
it just feeds into the story. Was she already a killer from day 1, or did she become a killer because of her mom? Like,
Yeah.
and also had what if Amma was a loving, wonderful mom? Would her daughter have still become what she did? Like, these
Mhm.
girls did not have to die. They didn't.
No.
But her jealousy led to that. And I do think her mom played a role. Just the sense her mom was in the forest with that girl. Why? Like, she there to spend time with her alone? Was she luring her away from her home? Like, I think her mom was also an active participant, maybe not in the murders, but
Well,
I
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like we've talked about how we thought it was a cycle. Like she brought the girls in to punish Amma for sneaking out. Amma
absolutely.
kills the girl, so she
Yes.
finds a new girl.
Yes.
So I
And she
think
was a bully. She's kind of a bully. She wasn't a nice person.
Emma, this
Yeah,
is
she was not
yeah.
nice.
Oh no,
She was
no.
mean. Like, she was
Yeah, she
mean,
was.
her
Yeah.
mom was mean, never got
Well, yeah,
punished.
generational trauma.
Yeah, so
Yep.
her daughter eventually becomes mean, and I was like, "Oh, it's like like Regina George, but, like, serial killer
Right.
Regina George." Yeah, it was definitely like
Yeah.
that. It was spooky, yeah, I think that's so scary.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Well, let's wrap our conversation up by talking. Well, let's talk about what we think was better,
Mm.
the book or the show, or
Ooh.
did they both succeed in their own ways? But then we will wrap up our show with bookmark moments. But let's
Oh.
get into what medium did you think did the story justice better?
I think I'm going to have to give it to the show. Just because I think that the pacing was a little bit the book for me, near the middle dragged a little bit. Like,
Yes.
I think this could have been a novella. I think it could have been similar to The Grown Up where it was, like, 75 pages. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it could have been a shorter book per se. But I also think that at least in the show, I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed the
Hmm.
character development for Camille. I also really liked, the cinematography and the way everything looked.
Yes.
It looked grimy and it felt claustrophobic. It felt like I live in Florida, so, like, the humidity and, like, that, like, sweaty, like, heavy, wet
Yeah.
heat. I felt
Yeah.
that in the
No,
show,
the
and I was like,
cinematography was
"This
amazing.
is great."
Hmm.
This is fantastic. Everyone looks sweaty and like they're wearing makeup and it's, like, coming off, and I love that,
Yeah.
like, griminess. So I enjoy even the shot where, Amma is, like, is she, like, on roller skates or on a bike? And she's, like
Rollerblades.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, she's going through the darkness and stuff, like, you're a teen, you don't think about shit, you know? You're just it's things like that where I'm like, "Oh, this feels like summertime." It
Yeah.
feels like a dark, bad summer, you know? So, yeah, I
Definitely.
enjoyed the show quite a bit, and I liked the pacing, so yeah. What
Yeah,
about you?
I think I agree 100% with what you're saying is that the show did a really good job with the pacing because it does lag a little bit in the middle of the book, but the show is able to show us different perspectives. Like the book is from Camille's perspective, so the show being able to show us more of what's happening when Camille's not in the room is how we can like speed that up a little bit.
I
So
agree.
yeah, I agree with you. The show is really good. The only
Me
thing I would say, and I mentioned it before, is go watch the show, but read the epilogue from the book.
it would have been nice to have closure.
Hmm.
But I don't mind that I didn't get it in the show just because I think I still remember that end of the book. But I would have been nice to get an epilogue. I don't lie. There's something about like it being ending on that moment of "Don't tell mama."
Hmm.
Yes, iconic in that, but like
Yes.
it would have been kind of nice to see Amma get some help. Like if there could have been a
Yes.
change, it would have been nice to see Camille get therapy and to see Amma
Hmm.
repercussions for her actions, but also maybe see her get therapy as well. I wanted the
Yeah.
both girls to get some help. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All
Yeah.
right. So, bookmarked moments is when
Yes.
we talk about the moment we liked best about the adaptation, what moment the adaptation did best,
Ooh.
what moment the adaptation could have done better,
Mm,
and then what is the most memorable moment of the book or the adaptation.
okay. Ooh. All right. So my favorite moment from the show, like to see on screen, I think is going to have to be finally putting a face to the previous sister because I couldn't imagine her in my mind.
Ah, okay.
So I think
Interesting.
seeing the room that Camille previously lived in, being able to see Amma and how she would change her appearance with her mom versus out in the world. And then I did want to see a bit of her rage. I don't think I got to see that as much in the book. To see Amma's like kind of how she committed the crimes. I wanted to see her switch from like that sweet feminine to that darkness, and that was amazing for me. The last shot, even though it was spooky, I kind of needed it. I needed to
Mhm.
see her be aggressive. So
Yes.
that might have been my most iconic moment was that oh my god moment, the dollhouse. Because
Yeah.
I could see it in my mind, so it was great seeing it on screen.
And I'm gonna say the dollhouse too, only because when I first read that the teeth were the floor, like I
Mhm.
couldn't imagine. It didn't dawn on me that they would be like upright. Like I was thinking they were sideways. I'm like, how did you not see that they were teeth? But then when
Oh
they
man.
displayed the dollhouse and I could see they were like stacked in, you
Oh
know,
god. Yeah.
upright. I'm like, okay, now I can understand. So seeing the dollhouse come to life was definitely probably my what I liked best about the adaptation. But I mean, again, there's so many good things about this adaptation.
Dude, I
Um,
also think of, like, a book moment. I think I would have to say, like, something about Camille seeing the house again after all those years,
mhm.
like, her describing how it looked now, I there's something about having to know that she had to go back and, like, that mystery of why she didn't wanna go back. I liked how you got to see even, like I don't know why this sticks in my head so much, but that the way she describes, like, her red sweater from chapter 1
Mhm.
and, like, how it doesn't fit anymore and it's itchy, and it's just, like, there's something about, like, I could feel her uncomfortable, like, she was in her
Yeah.
skin, and I liked how that transitioned onto the screen so well, but I do think the dollhouse from book and into the show is so infamous to me. Same thing with, like, Gone Girl, where it's, like, the crime scene being the house and the husband being like, "I didn't kill my wife." The repetition of that and the impact of the media in Gone Girl.
Yeah.
This, for me, is, like, the dollhouse and the impact of girlhood. The grown up would definitely be, what is it? Like, this concept of, like, the books the books and a business card. There's certain images that pop into your head when you think of a book, certain moments where you're like, "Oh, that is quite important, small but important." Teeth in a dollhouse,
Mhm.
a newscast and a husband. You don't think those things and think scary, but you put them all
Right.
together in a book and you think, "Oh, that's terrifying." But
Right.
yes, yeah,
Definitely.
very spooky. So yes.
Okay, what do you think that the adaptation could have done better?
Ooh, okay. So I think the adaptation could have done better is showing more about her mother's I would have liked to see clips maybe of her mom remembering her childhood or
Oh,
maybe seeing like
yeah.
a young Camille and like seeing like how do I describe it? It would have been nice to see her happy, so that it could
Oh,
contrast to seeing her at this
yeah.
point,
Well,
'cause
we
it was
did
so
open the
bleak.
show with them rollerblading down the street, but I think
That's
that's really
true.
the only moment we get
Of
of them,
happiness. I
in any type of bliss.
I would have liked to seen the epilogue in the show. If I could change one
That's my
thing,
moment. Yeah, no, that's my moment. I would have liked to see the epilogue.
I think I would have liked to see the epilogue in the show, and if I had creative license, I think I might have wanted a time jump. Like, I might have wanted a time jump just a little bit to
Yes,
maybe, like,
yes, just to
Camille
see Camille happy
happy. Like,
and
it would have been
thriving.
nice. Like, to maybe even
Yeah.
to see, like, with her scars, it would have been nice to see her with, like, rolling up her jacket. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my
Something
god,
where
I
it's like,
love that.
I don't give a fuck. It's one of those things where
Yeah.
it's like, what do you in the world, you realize no one cares. Like, it's
Would
your
you like to have seen her
no
get
one's
back
judging
like, would
you.
you like her to reconnect with Richard, or would you like her to be with somebody unknown man?
I think what if I seen her with someone unknown? I would like to
Mhm.
see her away from the town. You know what I mean? If I had creative license and I was able to do whatever I wanted, I would have had the epilogue scene acted out, and that I would have had a small, like, maybe like a voiceover of some sort, but having her reflect and be like, "You know what? Now that I have daughters and I'm married now, I can
Oh,
see,"
wow.
it would have
Yes.
been nice to kind of know that she built a life, or even just seeing her, like, at the dining room table with, like, her boss and his wife, and then seeing a guy sit next to her, and, she looks different. Maybe her hair's curled or she's wearing a short sleeve. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I
You know
love
what I
that so
mean?
much.
It wouldn't have to
Yeah.
be said, it should have been shown. I would have really appreciated that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been even like a memorial for the girls who were lost. Like, I don't
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
I took a class on victimology, and that was a big thing, was that, like, most people think true crime, they only think of the crime. They don't consider the families, they don't consider the long-term effects and the anxiety and the stress. It would have been nice to see the fathers and the families get something genuine, like
Mhm.
maybe a garden made or like something like that, and maybe the teeth are taken out of the dollhouse and, like, put in their graves, something like that, where, like,
Right.
it didn't feel like the victims got much after
Justice.
the murder. It didn't feel like they got any
Yeah.
justice, and they would have been nice. It was a
Yeah.
tragedy for everyone. No one really won. No one wins.
Yeah.
So it was a heavy read, but some thrillers just are heavy.
Yeah, they are, for sure.
Yeah, I we were saying
Alright,
that
what
bubbly people yeah, this is heavy. As a
Yes,
bubbly
I know.
person, this was heavy as hell, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what is let's end the episode with the most memorable moment of the book or the show.
Ooh, shit, I'm gonna be basic. I think I'm gonna have to say when she realizes that her mom has been making her sick and making her sister sick. I say
Yeah,
sisters because she did it to both. And I think realizing that Amma is the murderer and all the moments kinda clicking together. I remember reading the
right,
book and I remember having to close it, and then I had to reread it, like, reread what I just read because my brain
right.
could not conceive at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
think that's a
think 'cause
aha moment.
I remember I couldn't remember, like, it's either Adora or Amma, like, you're like, these
Mhm.
women are so odd, one of them has to be the murderer, and then you
Yeah.
find out about the Munchausens by proxy, and you're like, "Okay, yeah, so Adora is the murderer," and, like, you
Yes.
feel that sense of relief, and then, nope, they pull one more twist on you, and it's, Amma is actually the murderer,
The
so,
woman
yeah,
in the
that's
woods,
definitely a
I knew
twist
it
for
was one of them. White woman,
Mhm.
white dress. I was
Yeah,
like,
of course.
"Girl, it's gotta be one of y'all," and Camille just got here, so it can't be her. So I was like, it had to be one of them. I'm glad it wasn't a rando. I will say that. I will give Gillian that. She
Yes.
never inserts a random character and, like, "It's you." The murderer is always there from actually, I think I just realized that. In all of her books I just realized that in all of her books, the murderer is introduced within the first 5 chapters.
Hmm.
I just realized that. I haven't read Gone Girl, but I've read I think 3 other books by her, including The Grown Up.
Dark
All the
dark
murderers are always
places.
introduced. It's Dark Places, Gone Girl, Sharp Objects, The Grown Up, and there might be another one that I haven't read, but in
Okay.
The Grown Up, Dark Places, and Sharp Objects, the killer is introduced pretty early on, just as an individual.
Mhm.
So, I like that. You've already met the killer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, that makes for a good story. But Alyssa, thank you so much for joining me on
Thank
talking about
you.
sharp objects. I will be coming on to your show, or I've already been on, depending on where these episodes will come out.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here. Do you want to share with our listeners where they can find you online?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I had an amazing time. Thank you for letting me, like, geek out.
Of course.
But yes, you can find me on Instagram at stories. It's stories dot spoilers. It's like stories and spoilers podcast. But I'm sure it'll be linked in the show notes. You can also find me on Spotify and YouTube, same name. My icon is me. It's like my black cat. It's like lavender. The back is like a pinky lavender. But I talk all things books, spoilers, non-spoilers, authors, and I just try to keep it cozy. And yes, I do discuss spooky books, but I also discuss romances and sci-fi and horror and thriller. And I hope that you all just enjoy the episodes. And once again, give Sarah some love on this podcast. Please comment and just give all the support, please. She's amazing.
Oh, thank you. And please go follow Alyssa and listen to
Yeah.
her podcast.
Yeah, it's so good.
Thank you again so much for being here. And listeners, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode, and I will see you next week.
Bye.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Book Watch. I hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of page-to-screen adaptations. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share it with your fellow book and movie lovers. If you'd prefer to watch along, you can check the show out on YouTube. You can follow the show on Instagram at Bookwatch Podcast, and you can follow me, Sarah Day, on Instagram at captain.mcdee. That's MCDEE. You can also join the conversation in the Bookwatch Lounge on Facebook at www.facebook.com/groups/bookwatchlounge. If you would like to support the podcast, you can join the Patreon at www.patreon.com/bookwatchpodcast. Tiers start at only $4 a month, and I'd love to have you over there. If you have a favorite adaptation you'd like to cover with me, I'd love for you to apply to be on the show with the contact form on our website at www.bookwatchpodcast.com. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and I'll see you next week.